Hi, welcome to the What's Up podcast. I'm Monica Hooper. Today I'm joined by Bonnie Montgomery. She is one of Arkansas's best kept secrets. One of the best descriptions that I've ever read about Bonnie is that she is a creative nomad wielding classical arias and country barn burners with a revolutionary spirit. People should really speak up about Bonnie. She's been singing country songs with the skill of an opera singer around the state for nearly 2 decades. She released a folk opera called Billy Blythe about the childhood of Bill Clinton in 2011, and she followed that up with a live album that was recorded at the Cake Shop in New York City. She released her self-titled album in 2014, followed by her album Forever, which our buddy Sean Clancy at the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette praised as an excellent collection of honky-tonk laced tales of love, resilience, and making a life on the road. She's planning to release her latest album, River, this November, right in time for my birthday. And I'm so happy to welcome her today to the What's Up podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today, Bonnie.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, so I didn't know if I was right about this or not, but are you living here in Northwest Arkansas these days?
Yes, I am. I moved up here from the Austin area during the pandemic times, and so it's my first time being in Northwest Arkansas, but of course not my first time in Arkansas.
Yeah, of course. I saw that you had, I knew you were working with House of Songs, and I saw that recently you and Willie Carlisle released a song together over there. Are you planning on any more music with Mr. Carlisle?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. We need to get our heads together, me and Willie. He's all over the place, but we did co-write that song together, and we've never recorded it in the studio. So, yeah, that's a good idea. You gave me a good idea.
It was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Which, of course, I'm a big fan of both of you, so I'm going to stop there. Otherwise, it'll just be me gushing this whole time. All right. So, you're releasing a new album in November, and this week you've got a song coming out. I've heard that this new album, River, is very autobiographical. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and how it came to be?
Sure. I think, it's kind of a combination of a lot of songs that I've written over the years that I hadn't recorded, and then a handful of brand new ones that I wrote like during the last year or two. So most of my songs are autobiographical. I realize now that I have a little catalog behind me that most every song is something that happened in my life. So, yeah, so that's the case on this album for sure. But, I just had a new group of songs and lots of time during the pandemic to get into the studio. So it just kind of happened.
Okay. And you said that you're pulling from songs that you've already written. Was this kind of like the Boat Songs 2003 that where you had taken songs from a long time ago and redid them, or is this something different?
It's pretty different. I did take a song from the Boat Songs era, Half Drunk, and brought that into this album and gave it the full professional studio treatment finally, because Boat Songs was such a lo-fi, analog home project. So, yeah, it's not like Boat Songs in that I took a body of songs from back then and brought them to life again. It's just that there are a few that just slipped through the cracks through the years that I never got in the studio. So we brought them in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can you tell me a little bit about recording it? I saw in the notes it was someone that you had worked with before helped you with the recording this album.
Yes, recording this album was so wonderful. I enjoyed every single minute of it because my steel guitar player, his name is Kevin Skurla, and we put a lot of miles on the road together touring, and he's played on other records that I put out. But he built a studio. Just every square inch is so meticulously perfect and just to a T. the kind of equipment that we love to work with, and a lot of vintage equipment and analog as much as we could, and a grand piano. And it was his love project, and he kept saying, you got to come down to Wolf Island. He named it Wolf Island Studios because he's outside of Houston and it floods so much. I think is why he named it an island. But anyway, so his family has a sod farm outside of Houston, and so this studio is in the barn, and it's like a Texas-sized farm. Being from Arkansas, I drive up and this barn's like 3 stories high because of the combines. And, it was just so much fun to be around a farming, family the whole time that we would be recording too. So it was a pure country album.
I was about to say, I can't think of a better spot than a sod farm.
Yeah, I would have to park at the road. His dad's house is by the road, and then he'd have to come get me in the ATV because it would be so flooded almost every time that I couldn't even drive my car over to the barn. But it was just amazing because me and Kevin are just buddies. We've been on the road together, friends and collaborators. So there wasn't any kind of power dynamic or any kind of pushback from either one of us or ego. There was pretty much just no ego in the equation. So, and I even worked the board sometimes because it was just the two of us, because it was during the pandemic when it was very serious and we were taking the risk for the music, but just trying to keep it simple just with me and him. So he played drums, bass, all the guitars, the steel guitar, electric, acoustic. He played the organ and the piano, and he engineered. He is a savant, and it was just so much fun. Yeah.
That's impressive. Just the two of you, because that album sounds so, it put me kind of in mind. It's so funky and soulful, and it really put me in mind of that era of Dolly Parton's career, with Bargain Store when that came out.
Oh, I love
kind of
that.
It sounds like it seems like it's such a big production, and so that's really impressive that it was just the two of you. I assumed you played every instrument on there since you play so many instruments.
Oh, that's sweet. I did play piano and guitar, played some tambourine and some chimes that we got on a few songs, and of course I sang, and I did all the backup vocals because I would at least do them for scratch, and then we would be like, oh man, let's just leave those, A lot of people don't like to hear the same vocalist singing the backups, but some of my heroes have done it, and I kind of love it. But we did get some other background singers in there eventually. But, yeah, it was just the two of us. And then, of course, Jeff Robson played strings and violin. He's the conductor of the Arkansas Symphony now. I'm so proud that he got the post. So he was the only other one that came in the studio. It was just me and Kevin and Jeff, and then the two background singers, Jimmy Daddy Davis and Whitney Rose. So,
well, still a lot of talent going on that album.
Thank you.
Okay, so and getting back to that, I know you're about to release Modern Day Cowgirl's Dream, which is your first single from River, and it was. I read that the video was recorded at Whitewater Tavern. So can you tell me a little bit about why you chose Whitewater?
Well, everybody who's ever been knows that it's the perfect setting. It's really photogenic in there. Anytime you take a picture, it always looks good. And so we knew that we were scouting out other locations, and we knew we were going to have to spruce them up somehow to make them look like we wanted them to, but Whitewater was turnkey, ready to go. All the dust on everything and, just the decor and the vibe. So, and plus I've played there. I was trying to figure out how many times I played there, and I was thinking, could it be 1,000? It might be, because I've been playing there for over 10 years, and for a long time it was just constant, So anyway, I thought it was a good place to do it because it's like where we did my opera back in the day, and played a million shows, so I felt comfortable.
Right.
And I wanted to pay tribute, because they've really supported me through the years. So that was cool to kind of showcase the bar too.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
And since we're talking about your early days and it's your first time visiting with me, can you tell me a little bit about how you first fell in love with music?
Well, I'm one of those people that I was singing. They said I was singing really, really early, like before I could talk. I think a lot of children do that though, but they had me singing in front of church when I was 3. I started piano lessons when I was 3, and so I just never have known any different. And I have some really vivid moments when I was a child where I do remember discovering certain kinds of music for the first time. Like, had a little record player, one of those kids' record players, like and my mother had a 45 of Linda Ronstadt's Blue Bayou, and I just remember watching that thing turn and just being like mesmerized beyond. So I do remember moments of discovering stuff, but it's just always been what I've done and what my family and community encouraged me to do. So I'm one of those that never questioned it. And like, I think I would have let everybody down if I tried to be a lawyer or something else.
And your mom ran a music shop, right? For a
Yeah,
long
my
time?
grandparents started Quattlebaum Music on the square in Searcy in the late 60s. My grandparents, Ivan and Frances Quattlebaum, they were the coolest. And they stocked it with all the stuff that the Beatles were playing in their music videos. My papa was like, every kid in White County's going to want one of them right there. It's like, so he got the franchise for Gretsch drums and Fender and Gibson guitars. And they also were the only store around there that would carry the records of the day. So people would come in and get records of what was playing on the radio, So I have really great memories of flipping through those 45s and working at the music store.
Oh,
It was awesome.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law lives near Searcy now, so I'm gonna look for that record store or that store next time I'm down there.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was part of your family.
Yeah, it's not in the family anymore. They kept the name, but those were the glory years back when my grandparents were getting it going.
Okay, all right. And we've talked a little bit about it, but for anyone who's listening and who's not aware, Bonnie is an opera singer. She's very well studied. She has 2 degrees in music and is a multi-instrumentalist. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. As someone who's a scholar and an opera singer who's been trained in such, I hate to say highbrow, but someone who's acquired so many skills in your career, I'm wondering, how do you sit down and honor all those skills while also making your music accessible? Because I know that at times if you're really scholarly, it kind of turns people off. So I'm wondering, how do you find that balance?
That is a really good question, because for years I was really kind of confused within my own heart about what was what, because I would work on the opera and be pushing that, and then I would switch gears and come over here and work with my band and do gigs and stuff. And I was like, what is this? How does it make sense in my mind? And then, of course, how in the world is this going to make sense to anybody else? But years have gone by, and I've kind of come to a peace about it being just kind of the same thing. It's all the same thing. And it's sort of, I think of myself as a post-genre artist, which is fun to kind of imagine the freedom of there not having to be any kind of rules or limits or even lines between the genres in my mind. So, yeah, I think I veered off of the original question,
it's fine. It's kind. I know it's a hard question to answer because I think about it a lot too. Just I mean, on a very small scale. How do I make this person's story accessible to somebody who, how do I write a story about an actor that's going to appeal to a plumber?
Right,
It's like, I try to think about that. So I'm always curious about other people's processes, and especially when I listen to your music, because I can hear it, like that operatic background, because you've got such amazing control over all the keys you sing in.
Thank you.
And so I was just curious if it was if it was something that you did, intentionally, or if it was something that was more just organic.
Yeah, I think singing was so natural to me, and then I just sought out the training because I was just hungry for knowledge and wanted to know everything. And so, learning the techniques and all of the tricks, like an acrobat or an athlete, because the voice is very much a part of the body, and so learning all of that definitely helped with just being able to do whatever style I want to do. But I think the trick was doing it authentically, because like in opera school, I was such a serious student that I tried to erase my Southern accent. And I was pretty good at it because, I was such a nerd that my teachers were like, if you can't speak well, then you can't sing well. So I learned to speak really properly. And, when I came back to country music, when I sort of transitioned out of classical, it was really fun, but also kind of challenging to let go of all of that and let go of some of the training, but then keep some of it too. So it's been interesting, but I think I've gotten to a place where it's authentic now, and I can be myself. I'm sure if some of my voice teachers heard some of my stuff I do on my albums, they would I don't know, they'd think I forgot what I learned. But I think I've just settled into it,
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And so I know that you are planning your album release shows now, and that you've played several dates here, including in Springdale at Turnbow Park, and you were part of Fresh Grass and part of the North Forest concert series at Crystal Bridges. Do you know of any other shows right now that are coming up?
Well, we're putting the calendar together. I know I'll be playing at George's on December 8th with the Garhole holidays, they call it. So, this record's getting put out on Garhole, and I'm part of the family now, so I'm excited to be able to say it. I had to keep quiet about it for a while, but so December 8th at George's, and in Central Arkansas, we're going to do a 2-night stand. I can release that. A 2-night stand at Whitewater, November 17th and 18th, and we're just adding stuff all the time.
Okay, so where can people keep up with you?
My website, we try to keep the dates refreshed on there. It's BonnieMontgomeryMusic.com. And all of my social medias, we make sure that we're blasting them out there as much as we can.
And if you get on her social media, there is a really wonderful video of you doing Cruel on there, and I highly encourage everybody to go find that one.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So you can tell I'm a pretty big fan.
Well, I appreciate it. I couldn't be here without you, or all of y'all,
Well, we were so happy to have you with us today, and thank you so much for joining us. What song do you plan to play for us today?
I think I'll probably play the one that's coming out tomorrow. It's called Modern Day Cowgirl's Dream.
All right, great. All right, thank you so much for joining us today, Bonnie.
Thank you. I went down to Houston, we were putting on a show. After the loadout, I was standing in the road, like a vision, all dressed in gold. And then I danced with a ranch hand who was holding me so strong, twirled me on the dance floor, and he took me to another world, That cowboy took me to another world. Well, I've been all over Texas, all over the world. Never thought I'd see a brand new universe down there in Houston. Yeah, like a vision in this modern day cowgirl's dream. Well, now just a few days later, I was back in Austin town. The sun, it was shining like neon on the ground, all over the ground. In the places that I finally found. Then I stayed on the south side with the lovely Mrs. Rose. Woke up in the morning to my fingers and my toes and my toes. I was feeling like that Texas yellow rose. Well, now I've crossed all over Black County, I've been all over the world. I never thought I'd see a brand new universe at Mrs. Rose. Well, it's all part of this modern day cowgirl's dream. Yeah, like a vision in this modern day cowgirl's dream. Yeah, like a vision in this modern